Our mind is constantly trying to lure us into a mental drama. The essence is I suck, I'm not good enough, why are they getting ahead, why did they do that to me, I'm too this, too that, whatever. So it's always ready, willing, and quite able to pull us into these spirals. And at that moment, as soon as you realize that you've just been sucked into a drama, you say,
Well, hello there, and welcome to this very special episode of The Terry Cole Show. I was in conversation with Josh Pais. He is an actor who you've seen in a million things. He is the master of presence. I met him initially many years ago. His partner in life is Marie Forleo, who's a close friend of mine, and she was putting on Rich, Happy, and Hot Live, which is an event, and Josh was there. And he was leading us in this experiential thing called Committed Impulse, which is something that he created. And it completely blew my mind. I could not believe. So basically what he was teaching us is that every time your mind wanders to the past or to the future or to any kind of weird ass drama like it does all the time, that you had to say out loud. This is every person. There was like 300 people there. You have to say out loud, I'm back. So you could be in the middle of conversation with someone and you notice that you were thinking about what's for lunch and you would say to their face, I'm back. So they know you were just thinking about something else. But what blew my mind about that experience, and it walked us through what to do once we were back, how to ground ourselves in the present moment. But it was such a powerful practice that I adopted it into my life. And it helped me be so much more present than I was able to be prior to that experience. So Josh is not just an incredible actor. He was in, Ray Donovan, High Maintenance. I saw him on the Special Victims Unit. He originated Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles years ago. Shared the screen with icons like Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro, Joaquin Phillips, Ed Norton. But really, his passion definitely is acting. But a lot of time, the most transformative work that he does, which is what we talked about, it happens off camera. It's when he's teaching Committed Impulse. And this is the groundbreaking training program that really just evolved from his personal acting experience. And now he's put it into a book called Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility. So now it's available to everyone. So you didn't miss it just because you weren't at Rich, Happy, and Hot Live 15 years ago. Or you don't live in New York and you can't do a class with him. You can go get this book right now because it came out 4 days ago. It is flying off the shelves. Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility. And I really think that you are going to love this interview with Josh as much as I loved interviewing him. I'm super excited to welcome Josh Pais to the Terry Cole Show. Clearly been saying your last name wrong, but now
well,
I'm
most
saying it
people.
correctly. Do they?
Yes. Yeah, but it's common. But
So
now you'll never get it wrong again.
you are correct, and thank you for the instruction. All right, let's start with so many things, Josh.
Yeah.
I feel like before we get into, you have a brand new book, baby, that just dropped, which is super duper exciting, called Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility. So yes, we're going to talk all about that. I'm going to talk about how I was talking about how I met you initially in the upfront of the show, but I want to ask you, like, all of us do what we do, and you do many things. But all of us do what we do for reasons, right? Like, it's not random. So for you, if you were a Marvel movie character, what would your
Mm.
origin story be that brought you to this moment of writing this book?
So my origin story, I guess it would start with my parents. My mom was total bohemian, free spirit, artist, poet, painter, wild, um, you know, alcoholic, just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful and everything that comes with all of that. And my dad was very structured. He was a theoretical physicist who worked with Einstein. He worked with
Unbelievable.
Niels Bohr. He worked with Oppenheimer. And he was a Holocaust survivor. And Oppenheimer, when he heard about him, brought him over after the war. So I grew up with creativity, and my mom was like, make art every day, just make art every day, something. And and my dad was, he was playful, but it was like structured, and he was just really trying to understand the building blocks of the universe. And so somewhere within that, I started teaching committed impulse, which was not something that I intended to do, but that was all about, in a sense, the science of spontaneity. How can I get people and myself to be spontaneous within the structure of, if they're actors, within the structure of a movie, if they're doctors or lawyers, to be spontaneous and open to their client or patient. And so, yeah, so I've definitely, even though parts of my childhood were very intense, and I grew up in a very dangerous neighborhood, but I also was immersed in incredible characters, incredible New York characters, just the wildest. And so that, all those characters I've absorbed and used, to create wild characters, in film and television.
So tell us about, for those who are not familiar with Committed Impulse, tell us
Right.
about this groundbreaking training program that really evolved from your own personal acting process into something that you shared with all of us. So tell us what it
Yeah.
is.
Well, it started out with, I went on a 2 year spontaneity journey training with people from all over the world, just for my own, so I could bring spontaneity and presence to my work, because it felt very fleeting. And they'll be like, oh, and then how can I? And so after this journey, very spontaneously, people started asking me to teach. And I was like, I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to teach. And then NYU asked me to teach, and I was like, I guess I better listen to the universe just for a minute. And
Right.
then it was really a laboratory of how to get people to create in the present moment. And it's initially just only working with actors. Like, how can I get them to let something unfold between this kinetic being and this kinetic being in that moment, as opposed to coming in with, like, I know how I'm going to do it, I know how I'm going to do it, because that's not fun to watch. And then over the years, it just started happening. People from all professions started coming to my classes, lawyers, doctors, chefs,
Right.
like, and because they wanted to get out of their head, they wanted to feel what it's like to be creative. They wanted to be able to connect with their partner and actually see them as they are in that moment, as opposed to deciding I know who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, like lawyers that were having trouble, in their closing arguments, they noticed that the jury was checking out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very much on autopilot of how they were going to do it. And they were so afraid to feel what was happening with them in that moment. And the more I was able to have them just connect, they don't have to analyze, dramatize, but not to suppress, and let all the energy that's in our body, which emotions are energy, to
Mm-hmm.
let that be there as they're doing those closing arguments. They started to notice that the jury woke up and they were
Yeah.
listening. And because people are hungry for something real, and we have to trust. It takes an act of bravery to step into the unknown and offer you in that moment. But the more that you do that and build that muscle, and the book teaches how to do that,
Mm-hmm.
the more energy you have, because you're not managing yourself constantly, and the more people wake up because there's something real happening. And in this era, we're so hungry for something real, like
Yeah.
like truth. And not just the content of the words, but that it's that person is speaking from themselves, and that's mighty.
It's so, it's interesting, Josh. The first time And I don't know if it was the first Happy and Hot, what the Marie's
Rich, happy, and hot. Yeah.
Rich Happy and Hot Live.
Yeah.
Was it the first one that you led Committed
I
Impulse?
think I think in all of them I did.
Okay, so anyway,
Yeah.
that's where I first. It was the very beginning,
Yes.
and I remember, and I was already a therapist. I was already doing what I was doing, and I remember having this like profound. And so this was probably 15 years ago. Could it be 13 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. It was this profound realization. So I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about what we did. So you were teaching us the I'm back reset. So
Oh
it was a
wow.
whole bunch of lots of hundreds of peoples
Yes.
in this room, and you were leading us. So talk us through the I'm back, and then I want to say my experience, and then I'm so excited, Josh. When you first, I think I don't know where we were. We were somewhere together, and you first told me you were doing this book. I was so excited because I
We were
know
on the subway. We were on the subway coming
we.
from somewhere,
Oh yeah, we were
I
coming
think.
from Daniel V's dinner party. Anyway,
Okay.
you were talking about like the profound impact that Committed Impulse had on me all those years ago. I knew you had been teaching it and had been teaching courses, but I didn't know that you had any plans to actually turn it into a book. And I was got so excited that this
Mm.
ripple effect is going to be so massive, and the timing of handing people a book on, because it's not just a book on presence, it is, right? On how to stay present in a world that is seducing you to not be here now every time you open your motherfucking eyes. But it's a book about authenticity as well. Because without being here now, how can we be authentic? And what you're talking about, people resonating, we are hungry for this, is that no matter how much stimuli is thrown at us, when something is real, it just resonates that way in your body. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right, back to you. Tell us about
Okay.
the I'm back reset, please.
Okay. So our mind is constantly trying to lure us into a mental drama. It's typically like, the essence is I suck. I'm not good enough. Why are they getting ahead? Why did they do that to me? I've never been, I'm too this, too that, whatever. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always ready, willing, and quite able to pull us into these spirals. So when the spiral starts, you don't know that you're in it. It's just so, you're talking to someone, you're going like, yeah, later I'm going to shop. I got to get more coffee, and this is going on. And then there's a moment, hopefully, that you realize that your mind has just taken you on a little journey. And at that moment, as soon as you realize that you've just been sucked into a drama, you say, I'm back. And in my classes, like anytime somebody comes back, like they say it, I'm back, because it's not an interruption, because we're not trying to get anywhere. We're trying to. So throughout your day, anytime that you realize that you just got in a thing, say, I'm back. That's the first step. And then there's three other access points, and you put these together, and I guarantee you will be present. So it's I'm back, to snap back to here.
Yep.
And then your mind is going to try to pull you right back out.
Yep.
But then I'm back, and there's no order to these, but I'm going to start with taking in your immediate environment.
Yep.
And a great thing to play with is, like, there's a fireplace in this hotel room that I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm looking at it in terms of color, shape, texture, lightness, and darkness.
Yep.
So to literally see what's there, as opposed to my mind go, oh, fireplace, and then there's no experience, and then it
Right.
can pull me back out. So to see the space around it, color, shape, texture, lightness, and darkness. So you're seeing how a baby or a dog might see.
Mm.
And that also quiets this, because
Mm-hmm.
it's you're so tuned in. Other thing is to feel the sensation in the body, and to feel the energetic patterns, the the compression, the spiraling, the out of control, the flowing, the any parts of your body that feel tight, any parts of your body that feel loose, simply feeling your feet on the floor, just returning to this because we want to turn the volume. This is never going to really stop, but we're going to shift so that this becomes loud, so that the immediate environment becomes loud. And then the final is to breathe, but not to, people often use breathing as a way to get rid of what they're feeling. Like it's like,
Right.
like devil be gone. But
Right.
you want to breathe like you're putting gasoline on the embers of sensation. Like breathe so that you feel more. And so it's I'm back, immediate environment, body, and breath. And then your mind, in the beginning, like you're going to become aware that your mind is pulling you constantly. I'm back. But the more that you practice this, and the book has exercises all throughout it to instill this in many different ways, then you start to become present most of the time. And then when your mind does, throw a zinger in, you'll catch it and it's like it immediately come back.
Well, it's so good. It was so interesting, Josh, that my experience of just that one time before I really knew you personally,
Mm-hmm.
that I could not believe how much my mind was either in the past or ruminating about something, how much I was
Yeah.
not in the present moment. And I used that technique from that day forward to get so grounded. And it was that was the main thing that you did that day all those years ago that was so incredibly powerful. So let's talk a little bit about the 7 to 12 second rule about
Mm-hmm.
emotions, because so much of this work is about being powerfully in your emotions. You're someone who's not afraid of your emotions. You're telling us to feel our emotions. And
Yeah. And if you're afraid of your emotions, that's awesome too. Just be afraid.
right,
Like there's nothing. I just want to go on a little tangent, which
please
is,
do.
I think it's in the second chapter, is about the greatest myth of our time. And that myth, which is so ingrained in us, is that there's good emotions and there's bad emotions. And as long as we hold that to be true,
Yeah.
whenever we feel something that is a negative emotion in rabbit ears, then we're naturally going to try to get rid of it because it's bad. And so we suppress it, we suppress that sensation, and maybe we're successful, but we're just jamming it somewhere in our body. And then because we're alive, our attention is going to go into our head, and then we're going to be back in the drama. So better to stay connected. Your choices are either to listen to how you suck or to feel the natural charge of what it's like to be in a human body. A human body
Right.
vibrates, and this is really training to live in a human body and not try to improve it, not try to destroy it, just live in it. So the 7 to 12 seconds is when you connect to any sensation that's there and fully connect to it, not judging it, not analyzing, but feel the actual experience in your body. It will shift in 7 to 12 seconds. Just initially, when I was working with actors and they felt nervous, I would say, like, feel it, get as feel as much nervousness as you possibly can. And they would be like, no, but then they would but then they I would like, just try it, just try it.
Yeah.
And they would do it, and it would be like, yeah, maybe it's like heightened for a few seconds, almost like a roller coaster, but then it shifts into something else, and then it shifts into something else. And we need to let that be our guide track as opposed to this nonsense being our guide track. And also, it's not about, I know I said it before, but it's not about, you don't have to tell people, I'm feeling this or analyze it, or it's just like, when you're in the moment, it's things are happening so much faster than you can attach a story to.
There's something, though, about this idea of welcoming in, like, it gives me the feeling like everything belongs. and
Yeah.
you are capable of riding the wave. And I think
Hmm.
that you really hit on something about the myths of good and bad emotions. Being a psychotherapist for almost 30 years, people will be like, I was feeling sad, but I'm feeling better. Like but I'm feeling good now, but I'm happy now, as if, for my sake, I want them to have particular emotions as opposed to
Right.
other emotions. And I'm
Yes.
always so clear to say, I'm actually most interested in how you actually feel and what's really happening, right? Because I can't help anybody if they're just trying to please me. And I think that the truth of the fact that feelings are so fluid
Yeah.
and that they come and they go just like waves, just like clouds, right? It's But when we resist them,
Hmm.
and what do they say? What you resist persists, and it's just so
Yeah.
true. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like therapeutically, there's a lot of, obviously, the work that you're doing is very aligned with human nature, but it's very aligned therapeutically too, because
Yeah.
the invitation is stay with the feeling,
Hmm.
invite in the feeling, feel the feeling as the most that you can,
Hmm.
and know that the feeling isn't going to kill you,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
right?
It's
There's
just it's
info.
just it's just vibration.
Mm,
And the great myth, has, I think, screwed us all up because,
yeah.
you know, eh, we're designed, it's in our design to feel all the things.
Yep.
Like everybody's got all those things.
Yeah.
And, the book teaches how to increase your tolerance for
Yeah.
you, as
Yes.
opposed to cutting, like, I'm not going to feel that. I'm not going to feel that. And that, as soon as we pick something we're not going to feel, it gets locked in our body, and it
Hmm.
creates tension in our body and
Yep.
pockets of tension, which, decreases blood flow and becomes just unhealthy.
Hmm.
But I have some audios guiding people to just unlock those areas, and, like, yeah, it might be a rush, but then your body is working optimally because your body it moves, and if you can honor that, that's optimal. That leads to optimal health.
Right. In life too, right? So this is,
Yeah.
for you, this is for regular people. You've been teaching it to actors because it helps them be
Right.
present in the moment, do something that's interesting that people want to watch. But this is right now in our society and what we're going through and what we're experiencing, because I mean, the world is just a shit show, that it's so tempting to want to go away mentally,
Yeah. Yeah.
psychologically, emotionally. And I love this very simple practice of keeping us present because it's so important. We're only going to fix this if we can stay present long enough to really get what's going on. So let's talk a little bit about boundaries. So you
Okay.
in the book you talk about boundaries as a nervous system skill. So say more about that.
Well, I think there's you're the expert. I really want to hear your thoughts on it. But there are times in our life where we need to create a boundary, where we maybe need to suppress ourselves to handle a situation. And that's something that's in the human body's ability to do.
Hmm.
And it's fine to do it as needed, as a tool,
Hmm.
but we don't want to do it as a lifestyle to
Right.
consistently block out, prevent, manage, and then it creates all kinds of behaviors that are not an expression of our core.
Mm.
And you talked about all the craziness in the world. I think a lot of it, if not all of it, is because people don't know how to feel their body, and they suppress it, they suppress it, and then they can't, and then it explodes.
Yeah.
And that just, so many of, when you hear these horrible incidents of somebody doing something horrible, and you ask, the police ask the neighbors, and they say, oh yeah, no, they were really quiet, it
Mm.
was, it's really, but it was like, I'm betting that the
Yeah.
vast majority of those people have jammed everything down because they don't know. they haven't learned, and I'm hoping this book gets out to everybody because we all will do it in our little ways. But
Yeah.
jamming stuff down is like it's going to create havoc one way or another.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And what you're saying about the regulation, right? That there's a certain when we're setting boundaries with other people, it
Hmm.
does require like this will having hard conversations, setting a limit, saying no to someone that you love or someone that you like or someone
Hmm.
that you'd like to please, but you really can't do that thing. That will kick up for a lot of people fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, where
Hmm.
it feels more threatening, right? Because it feels like a bear is about to eat you, but it's
Yeah.
not, right? So we
Yes.
have, as we know, we have these physiological responses to protect us. But when we walk around as if someone has a gun to our head all the time when they actually don't,
Yeah.
this is what you're talking about, where we are blasting cortisol through our
Yeah.
body, blasting adrenaline through our body in ways that absolutely does not help our physical or mental or emotional well-being.
Yes.
Part of the being present. And I think that so how do we walk people through? Because people are afraid to feel,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? People are afraid to feel the I think the intensity. People don't realize the 7 to 12 second
Yeah.
truth rule, that
Hmm.
you could have the feeling, you could disappoint someone. You know, Cheryl Richardson wrote a book years ago called "Let Me Disappoint You," because, and I think it's a good book in respect to, if we're going to live the lives that we need to live, we have to be okay with sometimes disappointing other people, because if not, we're just endlessly abandoning ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And so if someone is like, okay, I want to do this, besides going to get the book, you guys, it just dropped. You can get it everywhere fine books are sold right
Hmm.
now. Just saying,
Yes.
you can hit pause on this and go get the path to creative invincibility this moment in time.
Yeah. And I also have the Audible, which I read.
Oh, great. You have a
Yeah.
great voice. That's exciting.
Oh,
How
thanks.
was it for you, though, to do it? Before I get back to my question, how was it for
The
you?
Audible, the recording it.
The whole thing, writing a book, getting it from your
Right?
mind and
I
your
mean,
practice.
everybody told me, once I got this book deal, which also it's another story, but it just kind of came to me.
Hmm.
Um, and everybody was like, "Oh, oh my God, it's going to be like rolling what is that? A stone up a mountain, whatever that is,
Yeah.
like telling me." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I just started writing and I had so much fun and I just felt like, not that I'm a channeler or anything. Maybe we all are, but it was
Hmm.
just like it was so effortless. It was so much fun. I couldn't wait to sit down and do it. It was so, and it was also, if I would get stuck, I would use the principles of what I'm teaching.
Yeah.
So I had to use, and there were times where, my mind would be like, "What are you doing writing a book? You have no idea. You're not even a good writer. You didn't get good grades in English class, and then I'd be like, I'm back, and just like
Right.
take a breath, sometimes literally see the keys of the computer, and then the channel opens up.
Right.
And so it was absolutely enjoyable.
It's
Recording the Audible, that was challenging. That was
hmm
like, because I think I'm like 18%, I'm just making up that number, dyslexic, where every now and then, like, I'll move a word around
yeah.
and be like, that's not what is on the page, And so I would, um, but so that was definitely work, but I think it came out great.
Did you find yourself, because you're an actor,
Yeah.
did you find yourself sort of, were you acting the book? Do you know what I mean?
I was really attempting to employ the four access points so that I
Yes.
was being as, like, and the book is written, I try to cross the fourth wall of
Hmm.
it, like I'm talking to the reader in the
Yeah.
book, like it's
Yep.
to one person.
Right.
And so I really tried to, you know, talk to one person
Yeah.
and that, and that helped it. And like sometimes spontaneous things, I do like crazy things in the reading, that just happened and I just went with it. And everybody was like, wow, you never hear, get to feel that in an audible book because they're always like, "Burr, burr, 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 burr,
Yes,
burr, 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 burr," and I'm like, "Burr, burr, 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 burr,
I
burr,
love
burr."
it.
Yeah.
So fun. All right, let's talk a little bit about, because men and women, right, emotionally, we were raised differently. And I hopefully that's changing now, but certainly
Hmm.
anyone who was raised in the 60s, 70s, 80s, there was a different emotional expression expectation.
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about, in the book you talk about how boys were sort of raised and how girls are raised.
I think boys shouldn't feel emotion. They should be rigid and and punchy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just be like, and nothing, and emotions are considered feminine, like within that paradigm. But to let yourself feel everything is mighty. I mean, that should be the challenge to the masculine. Is like,
Yes.
it's not dramatizing. It's like, yeah, I'm feeling all this, but I'm not leaving. I'm still here with you. It's like, this is going on. I don't have to punch if I'm feeling this. I'm just like, I feel this, and
Yeah.
let it be a source of how I create into the world. So I think that's the journey for men right now. And it's essential. It is
Yeah.
essential for our species
It
for
is.
men to do that. And I think for women, I think it's, well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. I don't have I think it's to for them to feel, also to feel their emotions and to let their emotions ride through them, is also a sense of power, and it's a sense of beauty and intuition. And we need female intuition right now. We really need that. It's so essential, I think, for women not to get caught up in a drama when they're feeling stuff, or not blaming it on somebody. But it's like, the, this is all this is all these sensations are happening now, and let's just assume they're there for good,
Right.
and they're there to drive us to create with, because we need so many of the answers to the problems in the world right now will have to be solved by creativity. And that's
Yep.
creativity of science, creativity of teachers, creativity.
Yep.
And we have the answers. But if we're managing our emotions in one way or another, or over dramatizing them or suppressing
Right.
them, it's like we're decreasing our access to our creativity.
I feel like with women and with men too, we've gotten different messages about what's wrong with our emotions, right?
Yeah,
We've gotten different messages about how we should contain them. And it's not ladylike to be angry, so definitely don't do that. And
right.
it's not masculine to be sad, so definitely do not cry. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's two sides of a very similar coin, which
Well
is all of
said.
this emotional constipation. And
Yeah.
what you're talking about is this access, and that you've really come up with this process that you share in the book, of this access of honoring feelings, but allowing them to guide us, right? It's not just having the feeling, it's having a deeper understanding of why I'm having the feeling. It's allowing it to be. And I think that
Hmm.
all of the control that you're talking about, like the suppression and the pushing down,
Yeah.
it's been so common for so long, and yet it does not work. And so this is
Yes. Yeah.
I'm really, Josh, I'm so pumped for this book. I'm so excited for people to be able to just have access to you and to your brilliant mind. I have two other questions for you. One is, you have had and do have still a massive career. You have, I mean, anyone who sees you knows you've been in a million things. So,
Yeah.
how is it for you to sort of you've always been dimensional. You're not a one trick pony. You've always done all different types of things, good guys and bad guys with your acting career, and
Right.
movies and television shows and recurring and all the things. How was it for you to sort of foray into this other area of writing a book that's being incredibly well received, that people are absolutely loving? It's flying off the shelves. So, how has that been for you?
I mean, it feels like, and I've been, experimenting this with my acting of how does this role, even if it's somebody horrendous, like how does this make the world a better place? Even if
Mm-hmm.
it's creating somebody who, if somebody sees it, goes like, "Oh, I do that too."
Mm-hmm.
That's like, but this book and this message, I just feel that it's my deepest calling. It's my deepest message that I'm here to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just feels like this is part of why I'm on the planet right now.
Yep.
And so it just feels like wonderful to have the opportunity to create from whoever the heck I am.
Right. To actually do it and get it into the hands of the people. I love it. All right. One
Yes.
last question for you.
Yes.
Um, Personally, what has
Yes.
been your most challenging boundary struggle? And how have you overcome it if you have?
I don't feel, at least in my past many, many years, that I have boundary things with other people so much as almost a boundary within myself of letting myself be.
Mm,
It's really what the book is about. But I will catch myself getting caught up in something which is just nonsense. And I'm trying to see what's happening and kind of undo that boundary so that I'm not on one side or the other,
mm,
and letting us, like, it feels safer to be in a mental drama almost than to be open and in the unknown, and just to invite myself into the unknown and
mm.
into just one other thing is, it's so mighty to step into I don't know.
Yes.
Like, I just be like, I don't know. And whenever I'm filming a scene, if my mind starts to go like, oh, do it this way, right before the director calls action, I just say to myself, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
I also say to my nervous system, it's okay, because our
Mm.
nervous system, it's almost like an ancient grandmother that can't see very well, and it's like, no, 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 don't. But it's like, just go, like, we're okay, we're okay,
Right.
we're going to step into something we don't know what's going to happen right now, but we're not going to die.
Right.
We're not going to die,
Yep.
grandma. We're just going to, like, play. And
You're
so,
you're gonna be okay, Grandma.
yeah. And literally, and then something settles and it allows this, to play in the unknown and live in the unknown, which is
Mm.
so delicious. It's just the best.
It. I love that so much, Josh. It's funny. Deepak Chopra had said to me many, many years ago. I don't know. I was doing something with him, and he said, "The infinite possibilities of your life exist in the unknown."
Mm,
Because I was being afraid about whatever I was being afraid about, and he was like,
mm,
"No, embrace. It is the infinite. Everything that could possibly happen exists there." And I was
yeah.
like, wow, that really changed my mind about my fear of the unknown. You guys, the book is Lose Your Mind, The Path to Creative Invincibility. It is available everywhere. Josh, tell us where we can find you if people want to follow you.
You can come say hi on Instagram. My website is committedimpulse.com, and there's, like, information about classes
Great.
and other information about the book. And when you see me on the street, say, "Hey, Josh, what's up?"
I love it. Thank you so much for being with us today for so much time, my friend. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
You're awesome.
Woohoo! Go buy this book, people.